Hey everyone, how's it going? So today I'm here with my update 1.3 Genshin Impact tier list. Now every character here is going to be based off of Constellation 0. So there's not going to be one character Constellation 0, one character Constellation 4, and stuff like that. There's not going to be any mismatches. But we'll talk about Constellations later because that's going to be talking about our friend down here at the bottom. We'll talk about Constellations, and that does matter in terms of placements. But in terms of damaging, supporting, and whatever all the characters do, that is going to be rated off of their Constellation 0. So to start it off, we might as well start with the SS tier. Now for SS tier, I do like to call this the broken tier. These are the characters that basically carry you. They're going to carry you in terms of damage, maybe even supporting, in terms of utility. They carry you basically everywhere. So number one, Xiao. Xiao is the new kid on the block. Xiao just came out about a day and a half ago. Xiao is ridiculously good, redonkulously good. He has one of the most strongest abilities in the game, which is his ultimate, and it's probably I think it's the first of its kind besides for the 5 stars. I know Razor has the same thing where he basically just gives himself a buff for his ultimate duration. So he's the first 5-star character to give himself a buff on his ultimate and not have it be an attack or whatever have it be. Because I think every other character here has it as an attack or it's an ability bonus. Yeah, so Zhongli, every character here is basically an attack when they use their ultimates. And Zhao is the first of his kind of the 5 stars that is going to basically just power himself up, which is really, really cool. Anyways, there's enough talk about Zhao. I have in my last video, my first impressions. The dude's nuts. I do have Zhao. I do have him at Constellation 0. But I do have Zhao at level 60. And I have to say, in World Level 7, which the enemies are around level 80s, like 81, 82, as a level 60 for Zhao, he does as much damage as my child does. My child is level 90 with, all level 20 stats and the best artifacts I could give him, 4-piece Hydro set. And my Zhao isn't optimized, mostly level 12 artifacts. He only has level 75 weapon. He has the Black Cliff on him, the Black Cliff polearm. And he's doing as much damage as Child does. Now, he has to be in his ultimate for that, right? But, as I said, he's on level 60. His talents are all level 4. So, I mean, Zhao to me, seems like the best DPS in the game. And I think he deserves of that top tier spot. Now, this is not ranked in no particular order. Just because Zhao is on the first on the left doesn't mean he's better than these 3. You honestly can interchange all 3 of these guys. In that top tier. You can basically interchange any character on this tier list depending on how much you like them. If they're your favorite character, obviously you're going to rate them higher. If they're not your favorite character, they're probably going to rate them lower. Or if you don't like their character design, whatever, you can switch up this tier list any which way you want. Most of these characters are flexible between literally every rank except for a few, which are these top 3. I think these top 3 are basically givens as, the lowest Venti could go is maybe A tier. That's the lowest I could ever see Venti going, is A tier. The reason being is because Venti, if you don't know, and if you don't have him, which apparently a lot of people don't have Venti because not many people actually summoned for him back in October when the game first came out. Which is unfortunate, but Venti is basically a hard carry for everything, every mode, everything, basically any non-boss. Venti carries you. He's an energy battery. He has the highest energy recharge. You give him Stringless, he does so much damage. His ultimate's crazy. He gives your allies energy recharge. He's too good. Venti when he first came out was easily the best character in the game, and he was the best character in the game until Zhao and Zhongli got their buff, and now these 3 share basically the #1 spot, which I know I like to argue the #1 spot is between maybe these 4. I think I could argue #1 spot, but I think Child might be #2. But we'll get into that. Anyways, Zhongli, he was maybe here before at his peak potential. If you first pulled him and stuff, he could have been down here or here. But now that he's buffed, dude, he's definitely SS tier. He deserves it. They basically made him into the character he deserved to be when he first came out, which is just extremely powerful rock boy. Now, Zhongli definitely deserves this SS tier spot, and it's without a doubt in my mind that Zhongli is up there. He gives that shield, he gives extremely high damage depending on his HP. He buffs his attack, he buffs his ultimate damage. He does so much. It's crazy. You basically never die if you have Zhongli and Diona on your team. You're infinite shields for the most part, and you never die. So yeah, that's going to end it for SS tier. Now, let's get into S tier. Now, S tier, as I said, it's no particular order. To start off S tier, I went with Child. Now, Child was my pick for the strongest DPS in the game until Zhao came out. Now, Zhao, I think, personally, in my opinion, I have both of these guys, and I think Zhao dethroned him. There's, like... The reason why I say he dethroned him is the one simple reason, and that's because Zhao's polearm attacks, they are not on cooldown. Child's attacks, his E ability is on cooldown. Now, obviously, if we talk about Constellations, when Constellation 6 Child is out versus Constellation 6 Zhao, I think I'd say Child is better if they're both Constellation 6. But if they're both Constellation 1, I don't know. I think Zhao still has the edge. But, in my opinion, Constellation 0, which most players are going to have 5 stars, most of them are going to have Constellation 0s to maybe 1s or 2s. Child, he's still my pick for probably the coolest looking character next to Zhao. These two are easily the coolest looking characters in the game. His design is amazing. I just wish his ultimate looked better. Like, just Child's ultimate design, like the way animation and stuff. I just wish it was something better, like, oh, the whale or something. Just something cooler, you know? But, point being, Child is still, I think, one of the strongest DPSs in the game. And I don't think he's going to get out of S tier anytime soon, unless there's some major power creep. Okay? Next in the S tier, I do have Ganyu. Now, the reason why Ganyu isn't S tier is because the simple fact that Ganyu, you know, she does it all, except for healing. She has a taunt ability, the only 5-star character to have a taunt. She is an ice character, so ice really, really needed a top tier 5-star. As you can tell, there's another ice 5-star character on here who we do not talk about. But she's basically going to be the one who is going to provide that ice element reaction for super conduct, for melt, all that stuff. Ganyu is going to be that character who is going to provide it. And she herself is also can be a very good candidate for a high DPS character. But she just does so much that I could not leave her out of anything lower than A tier. And then last for S tier, we do have the man himself, the character that has been out since the start of the game and is still in the top tier. That is going to be my boy Diluc. Now, Diluc, people have been starting to look away from Diluc. They've been thinking, you know, Diluc isn't that good. A whole bunch of other characters outclass him. And you're right. I do have literally 5 other characters who are equal to or better than Diluc. Which is crazy. If you look back in October and you said, look, 5 characters within the span of 5-6 months, 5 stars are going to be stronger than Diluc. And you're going to be like, what? You know, like, if I would have told you that back then, you would have not believed me. But yes, it's true. Diluc, I still think, is one of the strongest DPS characters to pull. And if you pull Diluc, you should be happy, because Diluc is absolutely ridiculous. He is easily the best 5-star for Pyro, in terms of adding that elemental reaction. Pyro just getting melt off and vaporize and all that stuff. He's going to be perfectly good. Now, the reason why I still think he retains this S tier spot is just for one character, and I'll pull them from here. These two combined together, Xingqiu and Diluc. If you put these two on the same team, it's basically just vaporize for days. And considering vaporize is the best elemental reaction in the game, that is what makes Diluc retain his S tier spot, because of that one reaction alone. But plus, I mean, Diluc he's one of the easiest characters to learn, in terms of, like, his abilities and stuff. He's not like Zhongli, where there's multiple levels to him, or Zhao. Zhao is a very easy to learn character as well, but Diluc is, like, the easiest character. Like, you literally just left-click E, left-click E, left-click E, ultimate, and then repeat, you know? Diluc is one of those basic 5-star characters, and I think he should be one of the bases for how good a main DPS should be, considering how old he is, considering how powerful he still is to this day. I still think he deserves the S tier spot. Now moving into A tier, it hurts me to say this, but Albedo, unfortunately, is not as good as any other characters up there. Now, Albedo himself, he is a very good Geo character, and I honestly would have put him probably in super high B tier if it was not for that Geo buff. He probably would have been down here, and I probably would have moved maybe a few characters around if it was not for that Geo buff. But Albedo with the Geo buff now, with his shield provided when he uses his ultimate and stuff. His ultimate does very, very good damage. All of these characters' ultimates hit harder, except for Ganyu and maybe Venti. But Albedo's ultimate does hit very, very hard. You know, his E is really, really good for that overtime damage. His presence on the field is always felt because of his E ability. Now, there is only one downside to his character, and that his E ability isn't really... You know, it's not like it's the craziest thing in the world, because if you can't use it against certain bosses, if they, like, step on the E, or against Oceanid, if it steps on it, and if you place it, like, too close to a boss, the E ability will just disappear, that flower. Obviously, a part of his thing is he does give an elemental mastery buff to your allies when he uses his ultimate, I believe. That's part of his Ascension rank. But he gives, like, a 125 elemental mastery buff to all your characters, which can be very, very useful, which is why he's also really good utility and he's really good support, and which is why I think he's a good base for a support/utility character for the 5 stars. Okay, and to finish off A tier, we do have Qiqi. Now, Qiqi can easily go from A tier to S tier. I don't think SS tier, I don't think she's that good, but you definitely could move Qiqi up to S tier if you wanted. But since this is my own personal opinion, I have Qiqi in A tier. Qiqi is just a pure damage king. She absolutely blows away everything on, like, she has the coolest, I think, looking attacks in the game. The way her charge attack looks when she summons that just basically a laser cannon that sprays down is really, really cool. She, obviously, Qiqi is, you know, hilarious in her own character, the way her personality is and all that stuff. That does play a role, but she is basically, these two right here, the Luke and Qiqi, are, as I said, a very, very, very strong, like, what a 5-star good DPS character should be. And I think that is where we're going to end with Qiqi. Now, Qiqi, as I said, very, very good, but she doesn't have really many drawbacks. She can be placed maybe higher depending on your personal opinion. But since this is my opinion, my video, I'm going to put her in A tier. Starting off in B tier, I do have Mona. Now, it pains me to say this. Now, Mona is probably my personal favorite, most wanted 5-star. But I have her in B tier. Now, obviously, Mona, with her ultimate attack, basically can one-shot everything in the game if used correctly. Which you can basically say Mona is SS tier because of that. But it does have a lot of, like, strictness to the character, which is why I have her in B tier. But Mona, she gives, what, that attack buff. She's Hydro, so she can apply Hydro for Vaporize with the Luke and Qiqi and all that stuff. You know, Mona is just a very, very, very strong support character, and I really do wish I had her, because I love her character design a lot. I love the little witch hat she has. It's so cool. But I think that's going to do it for Mona. Now moving on to Qiqi. Now Qiqi, the reason why I have her in B tier is just because she doesn't excel at anything, really. There's no really, like, she doesn't have anything special about her. Like, Diluc is just extremely powerful, almighty power Diluc, you know? He's just pure god. Qiqi just doesn't have anything special about her that stands out, really. She just feels bland and kind of boring. Now, her ultimate is really fucking cool. Her ultimate is sick. The way it looks, the design of it, it's really, really cool. But, you know, she just doesn't feel as powerful as, like, Qiqi or Diluc. She just doesn't feel as impactful as them. Especially Chao or Zhao. Not even close to Zhao, but Qiqi, if built correctly, can be doing very, very high damage. And I think that's going to do for Qiqi. There's nothing really special about her that stands out. She can crit raises her own crit rate when she uses her ultimate on her Ascension rank. But I mean, that's basically it. There's nothing that like super stands out about her. That goes, oh, well, she's also a support. Like, if she were to use her ultimate and then she gave, like, a 20% attack buff to all allies for 15 seconds, I think that would maybe move her up to A tier or even into S tier. But, you know, since she isn't, like, I just think Qiqi and Diluc are just a better overall DPS than Qiqi. That probably has to do with the fact that she's Electro, and Electro is kind of underrepresented in terms of 5 stars. As you can tell, there is only one Electro 5-star. So hopefully we do get more of those in the future. But for now, I do think Qiqi is deserving of the B tier. And finally, to end it off, we do have Jean. Jean, she has that cool... She has, like, some unique abilities. She has that strong heal on her ultimate. She can blow people away. She can knock them up in the air and do, like, 13,000 damage, which is cool, but... You know, it's nothing like blowing my mind or anything. She just doesn't feel as impactful as Mona, because Mona obviously has the ability to one-shot characters. I don't know. It's just something about her just doesn't make her feel as strong as, like, literally any other 5-star character. She doesn't, like, I don't know, man. She just feels weird. She's the worst 5-star healer, without a doubt. But, speaking of 5-star healers, I'm going to end that off with Jean. And we're going to talk about Qiqi. Now, Qiqi, if I'm being honest, I only have her down here because of the meme. Because she is easily the worst 5-star character, in my personal opinion. She barely outclasses 4 stars in terms of healing, which is extremely sad. She needs a buff. And the one reason why I'm really not happy with her is, yes, she can heal, but, like, it's not the best healing in the world. Like, I think she barely outclasses Barbara. I pulled her 3 times, okay? And there's just... Why is her Constellation 2 an attack buff for her? Like, I don't understand. Whoever designed, like, Qiqi, they need to get fired. Like, like, for real. Like, Qiqi could and should be, like, A tier or S tier. But, dude, she just... Like, okay, if I'm honest, if I wasn't putting... I'd put her here. I'd put her right here, next to Jean, in C tier. But, just for the meme, I have her in LOL tier, because she just, to me, feels like the worst 5-star character. She is Cryo, so Cryo is able to apply that, obviously, the Cryo element for Melt, and for Freeze, and Superconduct, and all that cool stuff, but she doesn't apply it as good as Ganyu. And not even close. Ganyu shits on her in terms of applying Cryo and helping and supporting. Her E is really, really weird. It just needs, like, she just needs to be buffed, dude. Like, straight up. Like, her and Jean need a buff. Maybe not Jean as much as Qiqi, but Qiqi, dude, she just doesn't... She just feels super weak, bro. Like I don't know what they were thinking with when they made this character. Her Ascensions are really good. Her Ascensions are really, really good because she has that chance when she scores a crit, she has like a 50% chance to apply a Talisman on an enemy. So you can switch into Qiqi, crit, and then get out, which is really, really, like, cool and useful. But she just doesn't feel strong, like, at all, dude. Her cooldowns are terrible. Like, a 30-second cooldown on an E ability is disgustingly bad. Like, that's terrible, dude. I mean, like, I don't think there's any other character here who has a super high E cooldown as much as she does, in terms of, like, 30 seconds. Maybe Child's, but that's after you use his E ability for, like, 20 or 30 seconds, or however long you get his blades for. But Child, it doesn't matter because her E ability is so insignificant, and the healing is so small. It's like, and the healing only happens, like, what, every, like, 4 or 5 seconds. It gives you, like, 5 seconds between a heal. It does barely any damage, and it's like, it doesn't apply cryo good enough. It's just so bad. Like, I don't understand why it's so bad. And what makes it even worse is, as I said, the cooldown is horrendously long. So she just feels like she's, like, restricted in a way to where she was meant to be balanced when she was first created, but they just balanced her way too hard, making her just completely, like, trash in terms of 5 stars. Now, obviously, that is my own personal opinion. And I do, as I said, I do have Qiqi at Constellation 2. And I'm still saying this about her. Even though most of my 5-stars that I have are Constellation 0. Well, actually, every other 5-star I have besides Qiqi is Constellation 0. Dude, there's just something about her that just feels so mid. Like, she just, I don't know. If I were to place her between Noelle in terms of healing, Barbara, Qiqi and Jean are the best healers in the game. I think I'd have Qiqi as the best healer in the game, and that's the only reason why she has somewhat of a quality. If she was a worse healer than Jean, she legitimately would be, like, worse than 4 stars, which at that point is disgustingly terrible. That's, like, worse than Zhongli before his buff. Zhongli before his buff was maybe B tier at worst, or A tier. But now after his buff, he's S tier, in my opinion. But Qiqi has always just been bottom of the barrel. She's just, I don't know, man. I wish there was something, like, that she excelled at rather than just healing. And it makes it worse that her constellations don't help her healing at all. If her constellations helped her healing, you know, great. But, like, the first two constellations are terrible. The first one gives her extra energy recharge whenever you hit an enemy that has a talisman. It gives you 1 energy every time that your E ability hits an enemy affected with the talisman. 1 energy. 1 single energy, which is cool, I guess, right? But she, like, and then her Constellation 2 is, like, utterly useless. It's the worst Constellation 2 I've ever seen in my life. There's no one else on this, literally any character, the main character, Amber, it's not even close to how bad Qiqi's Constellation 2 is. It's not even close. It's 0 close. Like, that's, like, it's so bad. They gave a support character an attack buff on normal attack and charge attack to enemies affected by cryo. What were they thinking? What were they thinking? Like, I don't get it. Like, what the fuck were they thinking when they made that Constellation 2? It's so bad. It's terrible. Like, I don't understand the thought process behind that Constellation 2. I don't get it. I don't get it. Nobody wants to DPS with Qiqi when you have Child. Nobody wants to DPS with Qiqi when you have Klee. Nobody wants to DPS with Qiqi when you have Keqing. Nobody. Like, so why give her a normal attack and charge attack buff? I don't understand. Now, all they have to do to fix this, okay, is they have to lower her cooldown on E, make her energy recharge faster, definitely change the way the E works in general. The E just needs to be changed, straight up. She needs to be able to apply cryo better. Her healing needs to be improved. She needs to have that talisman last longer on enemies. And fucking Christ almighty, fix the Constellation 2. Give her maybe 15% extra healing, just straight up. Constellation 2, 15% extra healing whenever enemies afflicted with cryo, or something like that. Just don't give her DPS to a support character only. Like a support-only character that doesn't need it. Like they... I don't know, man. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think of my tier list down in the comment section. I tried to have this as best as I could, and I tried to talk about as all the characters as best as I could, in my opinion. So yeah, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace out.